could you please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The first meeting of the new year. We expect great things to happen this year, just like last year. The first order of business is a public meeting on the second reading to discuss and consider the possible voting on an ordinance to prohibit smoking in the public park in the town of Ocean View. So, do we need to
You want me to just
go
go
through it again?
talk about it real quick? Okay. So, as you all know, we already had introduction and first reading. This is, as the mayor said, second reading, public hearing and a vote, possibly. We did discuss this, and some comments from the public in regards to not offering an option for a smoking area were discussed. The changes that a change was made for section 2, so that it reads that we could, if we wanted to, post a designated smoking area, if we want to. So with adoption, if mayor and council are so inclined, all I would need is direction to know whether you want us to select a designated smoking area or not. You're not required to, it's an option. And other than that, everything is as has been discussed at the other meetings.
Okay, I thought we agreed that since we had a border of 25 feet around, that we didn't need a special designated smoking.
We don't need it.
That's, we don't have that in here anymore. I thought we changed it to, it would not be within a 5-foot radius of the perimeter of any public park within the town of Ocean View, with the exception of private property or any posted designated smoking area.
Yeah, if it's in there if you want to do the posted, but we do not have to. It used to say that we would.
Yeah, but that, we don't need to do that now. That's irrelevant.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, if you're so, for me to do it, I'm gonna need direction to do that, if you were so inclined.
Yeah, the biggest change, Carol, is that we made the 25-foot radius with the exceptions on the private property and across the street and things of that nature.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
Any other comments or suggestions? No? So I need a motion to accept the ordinance on prohibiting.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Hearing.
Madam,
Public hearing.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, forgot. I'm
Good
sorry.
try.
I'm trying to get out of here early. At this point, I'd like to ask the public if you have a comment or a suggestion about this ordinance. Hearing none, I now need a motion to accept the ordinance to prohibit smoking in any public park in the town of Ocean View.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt the ordinance prohibiting smoking in any public park in the town of Ocean View.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Thank you. I now need a motion to accept the agenda for today's meeting.
Motion to accept agenda for today's meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So passes 5-0. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 12th, 2024.
Motion to approve the regular minutes from November 12th, 2024.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Communications and presentations. At this time, I haven't met him yet, but I'd like to introduce Matt Martin, the Public Works Facility Operation Manager. So,
Welcome.
welcome.
And I understand that you had baptism by fire the first day of work.
That's right.
Everything went smoothly, I understand, and you and your crew did a great job of clearing the streets.
Thank you.
It's, a lot of people told me how bad it was in other places, so it was very nice here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good day on the first time. All right, we're gonna move on to reports, the financial report.
Thank you. Before you have the monthly financial report as of December 31st of '24. At the end of December, we've collected 99.6% of our current year taxes, so we're well on our way to having that down to minimal as possible by the end of the year. On December 5th, Tidewater Utilities provided us a list of 19 customers that had past due balances in an amount of $8,125. Of those, 13 paid in full, 4 of them set up payment arrangements, and with the weather, we postponed the disconnects, and with that extra day, I was able to call and get hold of the ones that still hadn't paid, and they came in and paid as well. So we did not disconnect anyone. We currently still have 2 accounts without water service, which are both vacant. Moving on to our balances. Our emergency reserve trust fund has $1,238,168. The capital replacement trust has $1,270,950. The street repair and replacement trust has $1,321,825. The American Rescue Plan Act Fund has $284,295. Now, the amount in the account also includes, I just want to, because it doesn't match what we have available for our projects, it's because the account also has interest in it, which is not restricted and does not have to be used for the ARPA projects. Once everything's closed out and paid for, that money will actually go over to the general fund. The Emergency Services Enhancement Fund, right now, we have 40 new home construction permits issued of the 45 that were budgeted, so we are moving and right on target. There's $1,104,480 in that account. Transfer taxes, of course, are through December 30th. We have not received, or not December, November 30th, pardon me. We have not received December's information as of yet. We're 20.4% new construction, 7.2 with land sales, and 72.4 of resales of existing homes. And just a little note, we're going into our slow season pretty good, because we are, as of the end of November, 235,000 ahead of what our year-to-date should be. But December, January, and February are here, and that's usually when it kind of halts for a while. But at least we're going in with a little bit of a cushion. On pages 3 and 4 of following, and pages 5 and 6, you have the December analytics. If you have any questions about any of that information, please let me know.
Any questions?
Just real quick, how much interest was in the ARP fund?
I will have to look at it. I should have grabbed that, but I did not, and I don't want to give a number without actually looking at it, but I can send that out first thing tomorrow morning. I do have that.
And that does go in the general fund?
It will. Once we are finished, after we have to spend all the remaining funds, and we're going to be talking about the 12/31 deadline in a little bit. After we spend the remaining funds of the $1.2 million that we were given, the interest that it earned will be transferred into unrestricted and can be used in general fund.
Thank
So
you.
I'll give you that number tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the public safety report, Chief.
Yes, Mayor, we've got 2 reports, since we didn't have a meeting in November, there's November and a December report there, with all the accompanying stats for both months, and then you'll notice that in December, we've got some end-of-year totals. I'll be happy to answer any questions about any of that information. Couple highlights, in November, the volunteer unit logged 109 hours volunteer service, and in December, they logged 137 hours. The over $200,000 a year to provide our current level of service to the unincorporated areas around Ocean View. So we'll get 40,000 back. It's not the best deal for us. We've got also here a summary for the year for calls of service that were within the corporate limits of the town of Millville. I'll be happy to answer any questions about those calls. Also, real quick, I had a couple questions about an incident that occurred Sunday. Had a very busy weekend. Friday night, there was a lot of activity over at the Royal Farms Shopping Center that dealt with a recovered stolen vehicle. This car that was stolen out of the state of Georgia, and the guys were able to recover that on Friday evening. And then also Sunday evening, there was a lot of activity down Clubhouse Road outside of, actually outside of Millville corporate limits in the unincorporated area. There's a burglary in progress of an occupied home. 911 was called. They sent our officers because they were the closest officers. And Officer Mazza and Corporal Hopkins and his canine partner arrived on the scene and were able to track down the suspect and arrest the suspect. There was helicopters with a lot of police activity, and so we did receive a lot of questions about that yesterday today. It was all good. Bad guy went to jail, and dog got a treat, and everything was good. But with that, I'll entertain any questions the council has.
Any questions for the chief? No, thank you. Planning and zoning and development, Ken Semino.
Thank you, Mayor. Been kind of a quiet period here, planning and zoning. Highlight was a big snowstorm we got on January 6th, where we received approximately 9 inches of snow. It snowed for, I don't know, about 16 hours. Probably worst day of our contract staff. For the most part, we worked 22 hours with only a small half-hour break. Many of the fellows just grabbed their sandwiches and their coffees and ate while they drove. All in all, we accomplished our goal of being down the bare pavement around 10 p.m. with streets pushed back for 2 lanes until we got the little dusting of snow that came in just after that. We came back in at 6 o'clock the next morning and continued. And while we're talking about snow removal, I want to take the opportunity to explain what it is we do, why we do it, why we try to do it. Our goal in public works is to clear the streets and town-owned sidewalks, make them safe for our residents. During heavy snow events such as this, where you have snow events of over an inch an hour, our goal is just to keep 2 lanes passable for our emergency service partners so they can get out into the neighborhoods and calls of service. After we deem the road cleared sufficiently, and we go home and get some rest, we come back in the following days and we push the snow back. Again, our goal is to be cleared curb to curb. And while pushing the snow back may be an inconvenience for some of the community, because I don't know where everybody lives or where everybody's been, but it's been my experience. When you plow snow and you're driving, all the snows are angled to the right, snow goes in front of driveways again. It's just collateral damage. Folks have to clean their own driveways out. We understand they get upset, but being upset is not the time to throw ice and frozen snow at our staff while they're out there working. Being upset is not the time to come into our building and abuse our front desk administrator. You do not have the right to do that. We have a small town, we have 27 roads, we have 10 pieces of snow equipment. Do the math. It's a big job. And in the cul-de-sacs, we clear these cul-de-sacs out, not because we enjoy clogging your driveway again. We clear the cul-de-sacs out in the event that there's a structure fire, medical emergency, or what have you. Emergency services can get out there and call for service. That snow needs to go somewhere. In some cases, it goes into cul-de-sacs. Cul-de-sacs get full of snow. That's the only place we can put it. We put the snow on our property owned by the town of Ocean View. Period. Moving along, land use and development. Construction continues in Silverwoods. Future Homes continues to construct homes. Dan Ryan Builders has started on her first 4 homes. Everything out there is going well, going smoothly. Capital improvement projects. We put 4 bids for the next phase of sidewalks and drainage improvements along with that. Sidewalks and drainage improvements will be constructed from Days Gap to just south of Betts Avenue. There's a small agricultural ditch in the area where we're stopping. It's near the proposed Blue Heron development where, if you've been here for 20 years, you know where the Blue Heron development is supposed to be. Maybe one day it too will come. Code enforcement, licenses, all that stuff there for you guys. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments for Ken?
Just, again, great work, you and the staff. Matt, thank you very much, on the snow removal and the cleanup. My experience with them, seeing them and talking to them, very nice, hardworking, not only staff, but subcontractors. And I've had no one say anything negative in my district to me.
I'd just like to share that we've had a tremendous amount of positive comments. There's been a few that, you know, we've had to explain and educate or behaved inappropriately. One such has since apologized for its behavior, which was appreciated. A day late, but appreciated. But yeah, overwhelmingly, and I couldn't be more proud of what I witnessed when I came in. Had 2 new staff members. We also Dave Cattell, sorry, also started the same day, and they both jumped right into the trucks. I can't commend Ken more for his leadership for the whole process. We're not surprised. We know that that's how he's handled it in the past, and but we should be really proud, because if you, one thing I didn't do, which I wished I had gotten done, was a drone video from over our town moving out, and you would have seen a big difference moving out of our town and the difference in the streets. That's why the schools had to be closed as long as they were. If it was just people getting to school in Ocean View, kids in Ocean View, they would have been open.
Carol, it's a far cry from years and years ago. Colleen will remember this. When the town manager and the public works department, they were nowhere when the snowfall fell in the town. Very disheartening, and that's what kind of got the community engaged, if you will. And this is years and years ago. So as I think about that and where we are today, I concur with everything you said, not only from the town leadership of the mayor, Ken, and all the department heads. What a difference. And I think Colleen will concur with that.
I agree.
Thank you. Any further comments? Thank you, Ken. Moving on to the town manager's report.
Yeah, so my first thing was to welcome Matt and also mention that his starting, we've already done that, so we're thrilled. Both gentlemen hit the ground running with a lot of efforts that we have underway. Snow event, we also talked about that, so I'll move on, but again, commend all of our staff.
Nice picture.
We didn't have a December meeting, so our Old Town Holiday event, of course, took place on November 30th. We had a very good crowd again. Just want to mention our partners and sponsors, the Historic Village in Ocean View, Boy Scout Troop 281, Ocean View CERT Team, who's been tremendous for all of our events. Ocean View Police Department, the Indian River golf cars who for every event now loan us free of charge two golf cars so that we can run shuttles for parking. Kim's Interiors, Church of Christ, Ocean View Presbyterian Church all let us have excess parking there. And we also had the Indian River Concert Choir and Millville Fire Department. So there's a lot of community involvement for the event. Everything went off very well. At council, I appreciate all of your support and all the support from the rest of the staff who helped, Russ, Dawn, Shawanda, and our Public Works temps who were there all day and just really helped us have a good event for the community. Just want to share, I think I shared a different one in November, but Dine and Donate for the South Coastal Village volunteers, of course, our tenants and a wonderful group that we have here in our community doing a lot of good work. Well, there will be a Dine and Donate tomorrow, again, from 11 till 9 at the Coastal Cottage. So we appreciate if you don't have any plans for lunch or dinner, maybe you'll give them some support. Our long-range financial planning effort that Mayor and Council approved a couple meetings ago, we've launched our engagement with PFM in regard to a more robust long-range financial planning effort, and we expect to have the information to share during our FY26 budget process. We did set a date in the timeline for February 25th, where they will make a presentation. We think this is going to be very helpful to our budget process, and we'll have more information to share, but I'm very pleased with what we've been learning so far. Our water utility sale, as you know, that had gone public in recent months, and our efforts to complete the sale of our fully outsourced water utility to Tidewater took a step forward in late December with the receipt of a necessary documentation from the USDA in regard to how it will address the grants that the town obtained to develop the system back in 2006. Right now, submission of an application to the Public Service Commission regarding the sale is underway. We hope to have the utility sold by April, the end of April. This sale will result in all of the town's debt being paid off and some other amount of funds yet to be determined that the town will make decisions about going forward. We're going to have our exercise classes at John Wicks Park this spring and summer and fall again. Custom Fit 360 has agreed to come back, and we also secured a contractor with a yoga instructor to come back and offer classes during the summer. Holiday luncheon, we all celebrated together with our boards and commissions, employees, volunteers, December 13th, and again, on behalf of all of the staff, I'd like to thank council for supporting that event. Everybody enjoys it, and it gives us all a chance to get together and see everyone. Other than that, I have some outreach and engagement information for the past month, but I'd be happy to answer questions about this or anything else that comes to mind.
Any questions for Carol?
No.
No. Thank you, Carol. Public Works report?
No, we don't have one this
Okay.
month.
Well, thank you.
I thought since he had baptism by fire earlier, he could do this one too.
I actually told him he didn't have to come to the meeting, but he wanted to come, so here, right?
Okay. Moving on to the Millville Volunteer Fire Department report. In December, they had 264 calls, of which 227, 86%, are EMS calls. This is up only 4 from last year, and last year was 86%. So I think, you know, it's important to have this report to let us know exactly what portion of the fire department is used for fire versus EMS calls. The town of Ocean View had 44 calls this past month compared to 31 last year. Looking at the type of fire calls, if you looked in the activity report, a couple of pages in, you can see that the total fire calls for 2024 was 66. And 2024 calls were EMS. And that pretty much is the same for the preceding years. So that's all I want to say about that. Any further questions on this? Comments?
Mayor, I'll add that Doug Scott has been named the new fire chief for 2025.
Oh, good.
So he's going to place Walt Johnson.
And he did send us the annual report, which you just read from. One of the things that's interesting is how many patient refusals there are. Once the EMS gets there, it's like 522.
A lot of those occur at the police department.
Gotcha, okay.
They come in to check prisoners and they refuse to.
So that falls into that category, okay.
We have that many prisoners in a year?
Well, no, not five. He
Yeah,
said,
not all of
he
them,
said
but
in.
some of those certainly take place in the cell block there, please.
Mhm.
We also took note, like from 2019, there were total calls, fire and EMS were at 3,312. And then it took a dive in 20, 21, 22, and then still was under for 23, and then just in 24 surpassed it. This was their highest year, and that's what Doug Scott's referenced, but it is interesting, and I guess some of that was COVID years, maybe that impacted it, I don't know. But yeah, just to keep a look, and also that the EMS calls are well over the fire calls, so ensuring the ability for the EMS to be staffed at the local station is important, and I think that's something we need to keep track of.
Chief, if you could let Doug know that town council is happy that he's been elected president.
Sure will. I think we're going to be meeting next week, and I'll certainly relay that. If
Okay.
there's anything else you need to see in the report, added to the report, or just let me know too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are now having citizens' privilege on items of the pre-published agenda, listed for discussion and consideration, or items subsequently added at any time to the pre-published agenda for discussion and consideration. If anyone chooses to speak at the first citizen's privilege, he or she may not speak at the second citizen's privilege on the same topic. So, do we have any questions, comments? Yes, please. Please come to the podium. State your name and your address.
George Walter, 18 Elliott Avenue. I was just wondering, what's going on with Phase 3 of the Assawoman Canal Trail?
It's in design, I believe. I don't think.
Yeah, it was in design like a year ago.
Yeah.
And that should have been completed. I'm just wondering because we spent so much, you guys did such a great job with it. All this time, and we put the underpass under 26 was the most expensive part of the project. And now we just have 1.5 miles to go down on the other side. And it would really be great if we could maybe push that somehow or write letters to the governor, whatever it takes.
I know it's in.
I'm sure this gentleman here knows how to get something like that pushed ahead a bit. But
You're dealing with state agencies.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know when people write letters, what happens? And yeah.
We can certainly reach out to our contacts at DEMRAC and find out where it's at.
Okay.
We can get an update,
I can
and,
only assume it's, most of the holdup is probably, obtaining the land through either,
Well, I probably,
process or right-of-way process.
yeah. Well, that's all, you have 110 feet of right-of-way on each side from the center of the canal. So I believe it's probably more like the same original problem we had in the beginning, where you have the people who believe they have canal front property, or the ones who are, writing most of the letters, and it holds things back. It was Gordon Wood who finally said, hey, a few people, live along there, but so many other people can use it. And I've never seen a trail get so much use as that trail. It's incredible.
A lot of the problem for us is we end up being external customers like you, because it's not in our town where it's going. It's
Yeah.
out, the next phase is not in the town of Ocean View, so we're simply in the same pickle that you're in, because we really had no, I won't say we don't have a stake in it, but we don't have a stake in it as much as we did when it was in our backyard.
Okay. I just like to, maybe we can encourage
Maybe
the people at Ocean View to write letters. It
we,
might help.
Reach out or attend Bethany.
there hasn't been any recent meeting.
No.
I can share that there is some synergy with our Burzins property, at the corner of Muddy Neck and Double Bridges, that's in design. We hope to be starting, later this year with construction, so, we're pretty much almost fully funded for that. And there's synergy because there's bike paths that are coming down Double Bridges, improvements, and then there's synergy with the link up to this next phase of Assawoman. So,
Great.
I think things should start happening. I think funding's gonna be the biggest problem.
Okay, but the funding for that should not be much at all. 'Cause, it's pretty, just gravel trail, not much clearing to do around. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
But
I appreciate it.
we'll get an update and we'll make sure it's in the packet for next month.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the new business. At this point, I'm going to introduce an ordinance amending sections 140-24, 140-128, and 140-152 of the Ocean View Land Use and Development Code by defining various types of fast food restaurants, adding them to the table of permitted uses as special exceptions in certain zoning districts, adding development standards for each, and amending section 140-121 to add surgical centers for renumbering purposes only. This ordinance is needed to be able to give guidance to regulate these businesses. So I'm just introducing this at this time. This is not for discussion. We'll have that at the next meeting. Moving on.
Actually, it'll go to planning commission next month
Yeah,
and then come back in
Okay.
March.
If it passes planning and zoning, then we'll be back in front of mayor and council.
Okay, thank you. The next item is discussion, consideration, and possible voting on the ARPA funding update as of December 31, 2024.
Yes, real quick, so no vote necessary. This is basically the final accounting of how we used the funds. Dawn mentioned this also in her report, how we took advantage of the ARPA funds presented to the community. So it's the listing. We did have to have everything encumbered by the end of December of '24, so everything's encumbered. There's not a lot of wiggle room like we've had, but we feel confident with the little bit that's remaining that everything will move forward as necessary and encumbered. Okay, but we appreciate your support. What is it, about 10 or 12 projects that were funded, some land purchases. We were able to accomplish a lot with this $1 million that the town received from the federal government, like every other town in the country. during the pandemic.
Okay, I have one question. For the amount of funds that are encumbered for projects that may not take place,
They will.
okay, so if they didn't take place, that money couldn't be put into something else.
The only thing, like, say if one of the things, say if we didn't build a storage, shed for our wreaths, okay? So if we didn't do that, I think that money could be absorbed for the other two things, the parking lot or the card access project, or not card access, the parking lot or the Burzins property, because those three things are what we've encumbered.
Mhm.
But, we don't see any reason why we wouldn't do that, because we've identified the need.
Okay,
Our wreaths are the only things that, our vendor who puts all the other decorations up doesn't need to touch them. So, housing them and keeping them safe and not getting, smashed around during transit and everything, it would be, in our best interest
okay.
from this. So I have every reason to believe that Burzins is gonna spend it for that project, and 8 Oakwood parking being developed will spend it, and that we would spend that 12,000 as encumbered and required to have been submitted to the government.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Any other questions? No, okay, moving on. Discussion, consideration, and possible voting on award of contract number OVPZ and D 25-03, Woodland Avenue sidewalks, Daisy to south of Betts.
Advertisement soliciting sealed bids for contract OVPZ&D 2503. We're placed in local newspapers and on the town's website. Good approaches were accepted by the town manager of the municipal building located on 201 Central Avenue on Friday, December 20th, 2024. This work involves furnishing all materials, labor, transportation tools, supplies, and equipment necessary to construct ADA compliant sidewalks, roadway drainage, and partially reconstruct Woodlands Avenue from Daisy Avenue to just south of Betts Avenue. We received 4 sealed bids. I apologize for the typos. I wrote this after a very long week. 4 sealed bids were received, and Mumford & Miller Concrete was the apparent low bid, with a bid of $688,360.30. The engineer's estimate was $667,136.85. A complete review and summary of the bids was performed by Nick Nussbaum, Nick's our construction manager. He's with Wallace Montgomery, and it was attached for your review. Funding for this project is available in the FY 2024 capital budget in the amount of $715,900. Therefore, recommend that the mayor and council authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Mumford & Miller Concrete for a total bid amount of $688,360.30.
Thank you, Ken. I have 2 questions. If this project is approved, when would the project begin and when would the project be finished?
So the project will begin in March. There's about a 2-month lead time on materials, and the project would be finished prior to the second week of June, when school's let out and the majority of our vacation visitors are here.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ken?
Just real quick, Ken, how far south of Betts is south of Betts?
Dolby property.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes.
If not, then I need a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Adel Construction for the total,
No, no.
Mumford.
Here's the new one.
Oh, that's the new one, sorry.
That was perfect.
Strike that. Authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Mumford and Miller Concrete for the total bid amount of $688,360.30.
I'd like to make a motion, we award contract number OVPZ and D 25-03, Woodland Avenue sidewalks to Daisy to South Betts to Mumford and Miller Concrete Incorporated for $688,360.30.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So passes 5-0.
While we're talking sidewalks, if I may, the final phase of this adventure on Woodland Avenue is already designed, it's ready to go. And we'll fund it and construct it this fall. And then it'll all be, we'll have continuously.
So Woodland will be done
Yep.
by the end of the year, so to speak.
That's correct.
Okay. And then the only section left would be,
Oakland to Oakwood to the park. Then we have 3 other sections. 2 of them are designed, 1 of them is design. And the next one in my mind, I don't have to talk town manager about. The next one in my mind is the section that ties them all together. Oakland to Oakwood and Central, which is currently designed. And we're hoping to work with the Delaware Department of Transportation to get some funding from them to help them make walking on their roadway much safer.
You saw, I think, a comment from a town citizen asking if they could, if the town could consider a walkway along Central Avenue to 26.
It's in design right now.
Ah. How long, from where, from Woodland to the,
To tie it all from Daisy Avenue, where we left off, Mumford did the last contract, at the salon on Central, Daisy and Central.
mhm.
We're gonna pick up there and go all the way down to 26. But we're also gonna go down Oakland Avenue to be able to make it walkable from Woodland to John West.
Okay. And what about from 26 to the town hall?
To the admin building,
I mean,
To
not,
our admin building?
Yeah.
not anticipated,
Not
but a good idea.
anticipated, But it's something we can start working on for future phases with Delmont. Hopefully, they'll partner with us like they did on the Daisy portion, and we can get something done.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Question.
Yep.
So what do we do with the difference of the money from the Mumford and Miller Concrete 688 and the 715 budget? Where does that extra capital go?
So it's just like, we finished the cottages drainage project last summer,
Right.
and that had an excess of almost $500,000. It goes back into, whatever funds Oswald's gonna do. Same thing with country estates drainage, that had an
Okay.
excess of almost 200,000. Goes back into the
Trust.
capital trust fund. Same with this, just goes back to the capital trust.
So to continue, great job picking the right vendor with the right price, because that's what they should be charging, gives us extra money for more
Yeah, it
projects.
just goes right back into
Good.
it for future projects.
Great.
Ken, maybe I
Thank you.
maybe I didn't hear properly. So when is the section right here, West Avenue to Central gonna be done?
Right now, I have it in the queue for physical calendar year 2028. We need to do Woodland now, then we move on to Central, Oakland and Oakwood. That'll be in 2027, and then that phase 2028. The only portion of the West Avenue improvements that's gonna go ahead of the sidewalks is the Betts Avenue drainage.
Right, that's gonna go first.
That's gonna go first.
Yeah.
It'll be Betts Avenue drainage, the north end, because of the way the drainage is tied into the sidewalk project. Betts Avenue drainage, the north end of the West Avenue sidewalks, which will be Betts to the canal.
you mentioned sidewalks, or the mayor did sidewalk down Central. That's currently not in the plan. That would be an additional tube with Del Dot's
It's
help.
not in our plan, it wasn't in our original walkability plan, simply because it's not our road.
Right.
And there'd be a lot of coordination with Delmont.
Right. On the timeline on that, if that does happen, that would be a couple of years, right?
2030 and beyond.
Yeah, okay, very good. Thank you.
Matt?
We're hopeful, we're hopeful that the momentum and, with all the other walkability efforts and the sidewalks coming in, such as the one here, on West, that, some of the pushback from Central in the past, will go away. We do have several people that live on the street that want it.
And I talked with some folks, ones that are frequent callers, and they saw our survey teams out on Central Avenue, and, what's that all about? Like, we're moving forward to construct sidewalks. What side of the streets is it? No, it's on their side of the street. Well, how's that gonna go? I'm like, well, we're gonna approach you and ask for a permanent easement to put sidewalk across the property. Do I get any money? And I'm like, maybe $1.50. What if I say no, I don't want it? I said, then we'll move to take the easement that we need through the court process. I try to be as cordial as possible.
The only, I have no concern, and it's great. It would be nice to get everything all tied up within the next couple of years, before we start on that Central Avenue.
We'll have
Project.
everything that we've long ranged, I think, constructed, depending on funding, and I know we're looking at different funding models, so that may bump things up a little closer, but I would hope to have most of it done by 2028.
I understand.
Unless we find some funds,
Some funds.
or grants, or, and it could be, because I think we have a good story to tell. And I think we should get funding, so we can try. We're good at it.
Yeah, we're gonna get it funding, and we're still working on it. I think we'll get funding for the segment that we're gonna do in Central Avenue. It's just a matter of being the loudest wheel, being the biggest pest.
Okay, thank you.
Well, getting projects done, that's important to the
Yeah.
people who give money out.
That's right.
Okay, moving on to discussion and consideration and possible voting on a recommendation on an extension of PKS external auditor contract.
In November of 2021, PKS was awarded a 3-year extension for FY '22, '23, and '24's external audit, which, of course, they presented in October of this past year. They've approached us with expressed interest to extend for another 3-year contract for FY '25, '26, and '27. We have a little bit of historical in here. The original contract was awarded in 2016 with an extension in 2021. Going from the information we're given, it is not required that you go out and get new auditors every few years like it used to be. They do, however, every few years they change up who comes. Every year I see a different person who comes and does our audit work. So it's not the same people sitting at the table doing the audit every year. It is our recommendation, after consideration of the performance and level of responsiveness from PKS, that mayor and council authorize the town manager to extend for a third 3-year term for the external audit services of PKS and Company at the above noted fees. So it would be, which are noted through FY 2027.
Thank you. I found the letter that they wrote, asking for the extension. Interesting, they listed 10 reasons why the extension would be beneficial to the town,
Yes.
which I think is fantastic that they did that, and I agree with all of those reasons. Any questions or comments?
Just a question, the increase over the couple of years, that's normal progression, just cost of doing business, nothing crazy?
No, and it's minimal. What they're increasing is minimal. They're not even doing a 5%, which is,
Plus,
normal.
I agree with Mr. Mayor that their consistency and their drive to want our business and work with us and get the results that everyone desires is commendable, so I agree.
Okay, I need a motion to authorize the town manager to extend for a 3-year term our contract for external audit services to PKS and Company at the above noted fees, will be included in each fiscal year's budget submission.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the town manager to extend for a third 3-year term with our contract for external audit services to PKS and Company at the above noted fees, which will be included in each fiscal year's budget submission.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Moving on to discussion and consideration and possible voting on a recommendation to add a capitalization policy to town policy manual.
During PKS's presentation in October, they suggested that the town add to their policy a capitalization policy. So with follow-up on their suggestion, this is a capitalization policy to add to our actual policy manual that the town has. You can see the thresholds are based on either what our capital repair replacement trust fund, what that ordinance stated, and the revenue, the capital reserve fund. So we came up with those numbers based on what those say. Now, the final guidelines for estimating the useful lives, those are customary guidelines.
Any questions for Don? If not, then need a motion to authorize the addition of the attached capitalization policy to the town's policy manual to provide a clear guidance to the town manager and staff and facilitate our ability to acknowledge amounts under the specified thresholds as repaired and not to be capitalized.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the addition of the attached capitalization policy to the town's policy manual to provide clear guidance to the town manager and staff and facilitate our ability to acknowledge amounts under the specified thresholds as repairs and not be capitalized.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So passes 5-0. Thank you. The next item is discussion, consideration, and possible voting on council input for the 2026 budget.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as in past years, we're asking that you provide some early direction in regard to starting our FY26 budget process. Departments are already working on their budgets. This helps us to be sure that we're proceeding as desired and with full understanding that changes may be recommended or requested in association with our ability to pay, our council mindset, staff recommendations, etc. This is just a starting point. Just to run down the list, does council support the continuation of offering a discount for early payment for real estate property taxes? Should we include that? To give you an idea, FY '25 cost of offering that, it was $27,482.
Carol, we're not actually taking a vote, because we'll include this as part of the budget.
Not a
just for
vote.
discussion, yeah.
I just want to,
Yeah.
yay or nay, that's what, that our first roll-up of the budget will or will not, should not, or will.
Right, I just want them to understand they're not taking a vote.
Yeah,
Well, I think this has been a great incentive for people to pay their taxes ahead of time. And the fact that we've got 99% of our taxes collected is a great thing. So I think it's probably a good idea to keep
and
it
a
up.
lot of people, of course, escrow, it's escrow. And the companies pay, they utilize this, for sure.
It's a great idea. We should keep it.
Okey-doke. Transfer tax, does council support continuing with the operating budget having no reliance on transfer tax for FY '26? We recommend that you do so.
All right, I had submitted a question to you before today's meeting, asking why couldn't we use anything that's in excess to the budgeted goal of the use of transfer tax to be put into the general fund to offset any other budgeted expenses at the end of the year. I'm thinking about the '26 budget, not the '25 budget.
Yeah, I provided a response. I'm sorry if you didn't see it. And I thought I brought it to give out, but anyway, what I'm gonna, I'll just read it.
Yeah.
For ease. So this is what we do at times. Am I answering the right one? Yes. This is what we do at times and with the true up at the end of the year, as you may recall. And during any fiscal year, if we are trending over, we have funded projects or purchases with excesses with council approval. We've also accomplished a lot in the last 5 years, and with that, we have drawn down on our trust, especially the SRRTF, street replacement and repair. A lot of the things Ken has just been talking about. The excess transfer tax goes back into the street repair and replacement trust, which not only funds our drainage and sidewalk projects, but also our street paving. So if we use the excess transfer tax, it would further impact our need to supplement the street repair and replacement trust projects from general fund money, as we've discussed, because as we know, our transfer tax revenues have gone down in recent years. But I'm also hopeful that our financial discussions for the long-range planning will also play a role in discussion regarding our trusts and how we make up the difference that they're not getting. So if you're so inclined, we'd like to keep it the way it is, especially with this effort that's underway. And we're gonna have a different mindset and focus on how we approach everything, I think, going forward.
I think if we change it to, Carol, we'll also have to change the statute, because I still think that we'll have to make sure we amend the statute if the council wants to do something different.
Yeah. One of the things I can share from our financial effort that's underway, that's gonna be budget pertinent, is that the representatives from PFM, who this is what they do, told us, I asked them, are we behind the 8 ball with asking all these questions and going through this effort? And they said, no, your timing's really good, because we're not at a point where we're really struggling to fund everything that we need to do and have been doing. It's kind of, that they basically said, correct me if I'm wrong, Dawn, that it's the perfect time for us to go down this effort and to be able to, as a council and community, rethink how we've been funding everything and put some different measures into place, so that just like these trusts have been there to accomplish everything that we've been accomplishing, to try to have a new path forward for how things are being funded, so the money's there when we need it. You know, the proof will be in the pudding, and and see what we can accomplish, but we have every reason to believe from the signals we're getting that they're gonna have good recommendations for us.
Okay.
The transfer tax is gonna continue to be minimized because there's no, we're built out. So all we're dealing with is resales. So we will get money because people will continue to move in here and buy existing homes. At what rate, you don't know. This year's prime, they're already saying is staying stagnant. But it's not stopping people from moving here, one reason or the other. Probably because of the quality of life and all that we offer in the town. So it's definitely money we're gonna get, but how much moving forward? There will become a point where it'll be very low as far as that, because people will not be moving here, they'll be happy to stay here, and they don't want to sell, they'll just keep it, which is nothing wrong with that, you just have to go to another avenue.
I think you're right, but I don't see that happening for at least 3 or 4 years. I mean, we still have 2 housing projects that are being built where transfer taxes will come in for a couple of years. So we're looking at maybe the 29 budget. It might be tight.
But with that said, we're already 2 million less since, I don't have the right year, but like in recent years. So we've already absorbed and been able to maneuver through it, but we're not going to continue to be able to, because they will not be, the trust won't be funded at the level that they have done. And we've really hit the trusts because of all the projects we've been doing. So, I think you're gonna be in a better position to have better information, going forward about any changes we may wanna make.
Here's the good news from my perspective. We don't have any, we've addressed, for the most part, all of the community flooding problems that, when I came here, Walt came to this list of communities, that they've been dragging their feet on. And there's like 10 or 12 of them. And there's 2 left. We're addressing one along their sidewalks. The other one is the remainder of Woodland Park, and it's the drainage projects. And then all we have is the rest of the walkability projects. I think our long-term need for money for capital projects will mostly be our street repair, sidewalk repair. I think we're past all of the improvements, Persians, which we have all grant money for. We don't have to worry about that. So I think once we get past these sidewalk projects, and John, you said we had, 3 or 4 more years and over 225 units on the books yet to be built, sold, transferred twice. We should be able to sustain our projects at a certain level, but we will need to go to something else that the finance director and the town manager are talking about. And I think we'll be out of the woods as far as, you're gonna look at what we've done in the last 6 years, my God, we did a ton of capital projects. And that's also going to slow down as long, it's coming to an end here along the home building.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to mention that. The one thing that we do know over history, once the major build-out of Ocean View occurred, that about 70% to 82% of our transfer tax is resale. Just because we're built out on the new homes doesn't mean resale is going to stop. We are an aging population.
And it's
It could
staying strong.
increase.
It's staying strong.
Correct. So I've always looked at transfer tax in 2 ways that I'm great the town did. What is consistent, and the consistent is the resale. And I don't look for that to change. The dollar amount might go down by a certain percentage based on appraisals and things like that, but I think there's a steady stream. What I really, really like is a new model coming forth that we can base these projections, and future councils will be set on a good pathway forward. So I think the town is in good shape. And, transfer tax, a certain portion is solid. I don't see it going anywhere.
Okay.
Yes, okay, so that answered that
Yep.
question, and then there's all the others, as well, but we'll go through it and see if I can, see if I can. Okay, so, I think I heard that that's a yes.
That's a yes.
Just
Sorry
to-
about that.
Yeah, long-winded answer, yes.
No, it's all good, it's all good, great conversation. Okay, so, compensation, wanted to see if council would, again, is okay with us including, for the state health insurance, which the employees, are allowed to choose from different plans, if we maintain, having our employees pay the same that the state has their employees pay for their co-pay, so to speak. And then we have so far had the state's low-tier vision has been subscriber and family, employee and family at no cost, and guardian dental at no cost. They both total cost to the town is $21,000 if we kept it that way, or would you like us to start having some co-pays for that?
Well, my concern is that we're looking at trying to avoid a tax increase or minimize a tax increase. And if you and Don believe that we can balance the budget that you're now working on without having to cut anything substantial, that we can probably still go along with having a no-cost health insurance.
Well, not no-cost health, but
No-
dental and vision.
No cost to the employees.
Yeah. Okay, and we can look at that, as we have the numbers, and we're pulling them in. Again, this is all very preliminary, just to get started. And we can, if we're seeing that we're needing to make adjustments, we'll do that in the first roundup. We'll do that automatically. So why don't we keep it like this for now, and then we'll know better once we actually have everything in from the departments and move forward.
Okay.
But I appreciate that.
Yep.
Wage increases, tomorrow we're gonna have information from the CPI. Of course, by code, that is what is used, the method to adjust council's pay each year, so that would move forward in that fashion. We have typically used that for cost of living increases for the employees, with minimum, midpoint, and maximum for each grade. So okay that we continue to do that for this year. We think it's probably going to be somewhere between 2 point something and 3, but we'll know better tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree that to use a CPI index that we've been using. And if it's lower than 3, then that's even better.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's going to be somewhere right around that, we think.
Carol, the CPIU, which is Consumer Price Index Urban Wages, there is a Mid-Atlantic number. It's done by region as well.
That's what we use.
Yeah.
CPIU Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic. Is that generally higher or lower than what Social Security uses? That was 2.57.
Well, in the past couple of years, Social Security's been higher than the CPIU
Well,
Mid-Atlantic.
2 years ago it was 9%.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
do
2.5%.
this year.
2.57.
It gets released tomorrow. As
Okay.
soon as it's released, I will shoot it out to everyone. And, we'll, go forward from there. This is used for our salary ranges, the minimum, mid, and max of the salary ranges to keep. So that if you don't increase your salary ranges, as COLA goes in, you have people that get capped.
Yeah.
This is what's used, it's used for council, so this is what's voted on to be used for the salary ranges, not necessarily the COLA
so I appreciate that. Annual buyback rather, of sick and medical leave. We started this back in 20. It gets some of the payout for sick leave paid off a little bit every year, as opposed to everybody having some excess that, you know, if you have a bunch of people leave all at one time. So we've been doing that. People do take advantage of it. They can't take all of it. There's a limit. At least 10 days have to be left in. And I think it's been something that the employees have appreciated, and it's kind of like a good model for you to draw down on that a little bit at a time, as opposed to letting it accrue to such higher rates. So can we include that in it again, the sick buyback?
Yeah.
There's a cap on that too, isn't there, Carol?
There are caps, but it's rather generous.
Yeah. Do you know what the caps are?
Do they cap on how many days they can keep?
No.
No, what kind of cap?
How many they can cash in?
Okay, so it's based on the range of how long you've been here, up until 5 years. If you've been here 5 years, it's 5 days. Between 5 and 10, it's 10 days, and 15 days if you've been here over 10 years. But they can roll 100 days. So people can have up to 100 days that we would have to pay out if they were to leave, but it's at the rate they are when they leave. This keeps our liability down to where people keep, even if they only keep the 100 days, we're paying it out as we go, instead of someone collecting 100 days and us paying it all at one time,
At a higher rate.
At a
at a
higher
higher
rate.
rate. That makes sense?
It makes sense the way you explained it, but doesn't make sense that we haven't talked about having a cap on use it or lose it.
Well, when I got
You
here,
don't wanna use it or lose it for sick time.
when
I'm sorry.
when I got here, I thought, oh my gosh, because I hadn't had this, but when I did a evaluation of the towns in Sussex County, this is what they have. They have high accruals.
Mhm.
So we put some inroads in with some of this stuff and things. But I mean, I can do another evaluation between us and compare us again. But this is not unusual.
Well, with the use and lose it, just to make a difference, vacation, yes. If you don't use your vacation time, we can only carry you for, what is it, 6 weeks, I think? Vacation time, or you lose it.
Mhm.
With sick time, we really don't want to put a use it or lose it in place, because we don't want people calling out when they have when they could work.
At the end of the year, you may have that occur.
Mhm. So this is
Not that I think any of our employees should do that.
yeah, exactly. We have a healthy staff. This is a way of rewarding them for being a healthy staff. Here, you can buy back some of your sick time.
Mhm.
It's a reward for staying healthy.
Yeah.
It is the way I kind of think about it.
All right, too, just from police department perspective, it's financially or fiscally responsible thing to do too, because somebody uses it, and I'm bringing in somebody on overtime to replace them, and it's costing the town, a lot of extra dollars to keep the staffing up 24/7, 365.
No, I think it's a great idea, but maybe I misunderstood what Dawn was saying, because I thought you were saying that people could have as much as 100 days if we didn't do this. Is that correct?
They can
They
have as
can.
much as 100 days. Yes.
But you're saying that the days as they accrue, it accrues at their salary in that particular year. So they're not getting paid 100 days at their
Right.
salary when they leave.
Right.
So, take me for example, I've not been here long
Thank you.
enough to have 100 days.
Right.
If I keep, 10 or 20 days in my sick bank and pay out the difference, then when I leave, you're not gonna be paying me for 100 days, you're gonna be paying me out for 40 days at a rate today,
Right.
instead of, in 5 or 10 years, wherever.
We recommended at this back in 20 because we were hearing other people doing it and because of the concern for the higher payout. And it also is an opportunity for the individual employee to make a decision about maybe they have some, maybe they know they're going to have surgery, so they don't buy back any that year. But if not, they do.
Can I ask Dawn a question, just to make sure I didn't ill-advise the mayor? So Dawn, when they accrue, or have unused sick time that they bank, does that sick time go in at that salary that they're having in that year? It doesn't.
No.
The hours accrue, not the
It's hours. So then when they get paid out, do they
So
get,
this is a higher liability on our books unless we pay it out.
okay,
It is.
You could earn, when you start making, $8 an hour, 30 years later, you're making $48 an hour, and you cash that out.
Is that
You earned the date, but you're getting it 48.
Absolutely.
okay, that's my question. So
Yeah.
I misspoke.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm more confused than ever. So, you can use the same guidelines, but I need to sit down and come in.
Absolutely, I can show it to you.
Yeah, okay. Because thought I was right there and all of a sudden,
I'm right there with you.
okay, thanks.
We're sorry.
No,
It has been in place since 2020.
Wednesday,
And it seemed to be doing, it seems to be doing the trick that it's intended to do.
yeah, the only difference is this is the first year maybe the cap code was put out there, that we were having some discussion on. But maybe not.
Yeah.
Dawn's great, I'll come in. She'll explain
Okay.
to me. Thank you.
And then, just to give you an idea of the events, lineup for 2025, very similar. There's no spring event this year, just a bandwidth thing. Last year we had a bunch of, we had the 135th, and it was a lot to pull off everything. Spring event was 2 years, I think, we did it, and there's just so much competition. We just didn't get the crowd that we would like. So maybe there was some rethinking. I did leave a little bit of money in to do something in 26, spring of 26, not FY 26, calendar year 26. We reduced old time. A lot of the things that we had to purchase have been purchased, so we're kind of tweaking that now that we're in our 5th year for that. But want to see if you're in support of us doing all that. Some of the things for next year, we do have to put contracts in place, so if Mayor and Council in May didn't approve the budget, I could cancel it, but I do have to get some things done more in advance for some of these things, and the police department does as well for cops and goblins.
I know that there's a couple of items that I wanted to talk about. Movie nights. I know that some years they've been very successful, and some years they're not so successful. And I know that you've been thinking, do we want to still do movie nights?
Yeah.
So I think, if we're trying to cut expenses in order to have a balanced budget, that would be one thing to drop, I think.
Yeah, they're not, we've been doing the theme nights and everything, but if you're just gonna show the movie, it's not that much. I'm not happy that you have to pay for the right to show it in the public, so that's going up to $450, but I complained about that, and they did give us $300, they took like $80 off. I said, you're pricing it out for small towns like us, that, maybe I'm gonna get 100 and some people, okay? So, I do have the plan to do 2, Goonies and Jaws for next year, unless you want me to just cut it out, but that's like $900. Not even $900, because it's probably 700 and something.
Okay, all right.
We already own the equipment.
Yeah.
The
I just
people-
wanna promise it's not gonna be American graffiti.
Yeah, no, it's not American graffiti,
Thank
because we
you.
already had that.
We've been there, done that.
We didn't, we
Done
never
that,
did the
done
same
that, done
thing
that, done
twice.
that. Yes.
Um, we also have been moving around the time of year, so this is gonna be May. We're gonna try to see if it's a better fit, because of course there's so much competition, in the summer, so we kind of take a break then.
Okay, and the other one is Cops and Goblins. Chief, I'm sorry, but, it's been going up and up and up, and I know that it's a big event and it's well attended, but we don't have that many kids that live in Ocean View. It's really an event for everybody else around here, and I know it brings attention to the town. But I think, it's kind of excessive. And, Carol has that with a fundraising campaign. I don't know what that means. Would that mean less money that we would take out of our budget that would get?
Yeah, so I'm so sorry that you didn't see and again, it didn't come to you till today, my response, but, Chief and I talked, and we thought that we might be able to launch some type of a fundraising campaign where we ask for support from our community, our businesses, all the vendors that the town purchases things from, things like that, to see if we could raise maybe $8,000 to $10,000. That was kind of our earmark goal. Chief is going to talk to his staff, the captain who takes the lead on Cops and Goblins, and see if that's something we would want to do. My thought is right now, early in the year, a lot of businesses plan all of their fundraising, who they're going to give funds to early in the year. So that was one thing. But there's another thing that I wrote about, and grant and aid is something that towns get. I did a little bit of research today to see if there were household income requirements, like a certain limit, and I didn't find that. So I have reached out just today also to Senator Hockers and Representative Gray's office to see if they would support that. I know that in Delaware City, they got probably, I think it was about $30,000 a year from grant and aid to offer their Delaware City Day, okay, and it had fireworks and all kinds of stuff. So unfortunately, I can't apply for that again until, if it's a match, I can't apply for that until September for 2026 Cops and Goblins. But I think it's a good fit, as long as I didn't miss anything that would say Ocean View doesn't qualify because of our makeup. But so I'll probably know that in the next couple days, if not by tomorrow. There could be an email in my box right now. But I think we're committed to try to do more fundraising. I think that it is, if any of our events are going to get it, the fundraising money, I think it's the Cops and Goblins. Not anything against our other big events, but it's just, people just really love it.
So what are you looking for, just monetary gifts, or you're gonna have advertising that promotes the following communities support? You
Yeah,
can do it either way,
Money.
right?
I'm gonna go with everything, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off looking at, we started this, 9 years ago, this will be our 10th annual Cops and Goblins, and the big push across the country was community policing, community outreach. This was our signature event. I can tell you it's the largest police community outreach event in the state of Delaware. I'm hoping that I can get some funding maybe through the Criminal Justice Council or the U.S. Department of Justice. We very well, as you know, brought in millions in funding over the years, and
And I'm not suggesting that you not do it. And I know there's now a lot of competition. A lot of towns are copying, you know, what you've done. So I know it would be difficult to charge, you know, when everybody else is trying to ramp up to the same thing that Ocean View is doing, and they're not charging. But, you know, one of the things that I look at when I'm looking at our activities is, you know, what does it do for the town of Ocean View and its residents? And the residents, I think, is number one. And we don't have that many kids in town. So, you know, but we do get a lot of people coming in. We get thousands of people. And it's something that a lot of kids in other towns look forward to come here, because they know it's a great event. So, but, you know, each year it gets more and more expensive, and it's, you know, 3 or 4 times anything else we do. So.
There's a lot of synergy with of course, our local school that's in the community, and the children that may or may not, primarily, I think you're right that most of them don't live in town. But I also think that if we are able to do some fundraising effort this year, and then get into the cycle for grant and aid, which once you're in the cycle, you're kind of in the cycle, getting it. So this would be, because we don't, the fundraising effort would not be something that would necessarily be able to be counted on every year. But again, once I get more information on grant and aid, once we have the budget put together with the first roll-up and everything, we could come back to you and we could say, look, you can't get 4 rides, you only get 2 rides. You know, we will do all of that legwork,
Right.
To bring you a balanced budget that everybody can stomach. Okay.
I know you'll do that.
Okay.
Hey, Carol, legislative session just started for the state, so, you know, Senator Hocker and I'm sure Representative Ron Gray help any way they possibly could.
Yeah.
We contact them, or I can, or, you know.
Yeah, so I sent the email just today, about grant and aid, because I finally had a chance to take a look at it. And, I want to know if I need to meet with them. Do they need to approve? Do I need to get a feel for their approval, support before next September, when I can actually put in an application? Again, I missed it for 2025, but if we can fund it maybe with some sponsorship for this year, we might be, you know, I think they'll give me a good idea whether, Carol, you're not going to get this money for that, or Carol, put it in. We're going to do all we can to help you get it. That's what I hope to hear. Okay. Okay. So that is it. I know that was maybe, oh no, 2 more, sorry. Capital budget contingency, about, I don't know what year we started doing it, but when we put our capital budget together, a few years back we started having a contingency that is equal to 10% of the total capital budget. We don't spend that contingency money unless we come back to you, but we budget for 10%. Okay, that's worked out good. If we don't need it, we don't need it, but it's just a nice way to know that if we have higher costs for any of our capital projects, there's money already sitting there. We come back, ask you, can we tap into that money, and you tell us yes or no. We don't use it that often. Maybe once we had to come back, but it's a good thing to have in place. So if you're so inclined, we will include that again.
Yeah.
We had a bad rock project right after COVID.
We did, we came back pretty bit, but that's when we started contingency.
Okay, before that, yeah. Okay, and then last but not least, 5-year agreement with Tidewater goes through FY '28, but we anticipate the settlement of the sale of the water distribution system to Tidewater to occur by the end of April of this year. So we'll keep you posted on that. But that is it for our request for your guidance to help us start. budget timeline is also included in here for you, I believe. Yes. And again, February 25th is when we hope to have the public input on the budget and the council budget workshop, and also deliver the long-range planning presentation that we've been, Dawn and I have been excited about.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you. Last item is discussion, consideration, and possible voting on town election schedule.
So, yes, so this is, Donna put this together, and of course, we'll know
It's
what.
just a guideline, basically, that I use to tell me when I have to do something, and give you an idea that dates will be advertised.
Mhm.
Get down to the date of the election, which is the 12th of April.
Donna, do we have districts that are, the terms are running out?
I have replies from 4 people, I'm waiting for answers from 4 people.
Okay, so 4
I have
people,
phone calls
are
out.
they all terms that are running out, or just,
No, they're in for 2025.
okay.
They've agreed that they want to be on, they can be on the election committee for 2025.
So council members, no council members need to,
Not at this moment. I'm waiting for replies. I've left messages and I'm waiting for replies. I think I
for a
may-
possibility of 4 people?
No, I think maybe 2.
Would you be, for those 2 people, would you be able to tell the council members that those districts are, so they might be starting to think?
Yes, 1 and 3.
Okay, so you've been,
Possibly 2.
District 1 and 3, just put your thinking caps on, if you might have somebody that you could approach to nominate if Donna.
I will take suggestions from any district because I have
Yeah.
3 in District 2 and only 1 in District 4. So anybody who knows somebody who might be interested, you know.
Good to get them in our list and engaged.
No, I'm for it.
Yeah, you're 4. It's 1 and 2 this year.
Yeah,
I know, I'm talking about the.
It's not the,
election committee.
this is the committee members.
The committee.
Sorry if that wasn't clear. Yeah, this is for the committee members.
1 and 2 are up for reelection. District 2.
Okay, so thinking caps on, because, you know, we have some people who've been on the committee for a long time, maybe some health issues going on, and we want to make sure we have people to serve. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I just need a motion to-
Oh, yeah. We need a motion to accept the council election calendar for 2025.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2025 election schedule.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So passes 5-0. We're now moving to the second citizen's privilege. We've lost half of our audience. Anyone have a comment to make? If not, then I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. So passes. Thank you.